met an American who was a pretty interesting fellow, and he had a Russian friend. And his Russian friend told him the difference between Americans and Russians is that at least in Russia, they know it's propaganda. Unless you think propaganda just conveniently disappeared after the Second World War, of course we're subjected to all sorts of propaganda. So as people become more sophisticated and less trustful of major mainstream media outlets, the whole propaganda methodology has had to switch gears a little. All of these supposed grassroots organizations and other organizations that are actually being funded by large corporate interests are coming out and trying to cast doubt on global warming. And really, the debate should be about what we're doing to our water, and that is if you combine CO2 with water, you get an acid. The idea that it's global warming, it's real, it's not real, it's classic bait and switch, but it's also a very effective propaganda technique. Repeat it long enough and people will always preface their remarks with, well, we really don't know what's causing it, or it's debatable, or it's controversial. What isn't a controversy is acid rain. Now, you don't hear about acid rain anymore. Prime Minister Harper, in his infinite wisdom, shut down these very world-class research projects that were going on in Canada that were showing just that were pickling the water, were pickling the oceans. Pickling the oceans to the point where some of the whales are starving now because plankton and phytoplankton can't live in an acidic environment like we've created for them. So by pumping all this CO2 into the atmosphere, we're starving higher order animals such as mammals, actually, such as whales, and they're starting to starve. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, who else is a higher order mammal on this planet? If we're threatening our very water sources, which is one of the basic requirements for life, what are we doing to the planet? And that's really what the debate is about. But the propaganda matrix that's been created around the environment all comes back to global warming. Is global warming real? Is it not real? Yada, yada, yada. The other issue with the global warming debate, the so-called global warming debate, is the amount of pollutants that we're putting into the atmosphere. And nobody talks about that. And yet our cancer rates are rising. Within the next decade or so, your chance of getting cancer is going to be like tossing a coin, 50-50. Nobody talks about that. The alternatives are readily available. But because global warming is a big controversy, well, we don't really have to move to the alternatives. There is no compelling reason to start developing solar power on a massive basis, to start using other alternatives, to do research and development. In fact, research and development has been shut down because guess what? Industry doesn't want new technologies that they may not have control over, or that they may not be able to profit from as readily as petroleum. So this is what a modern propaganda campaign looks like. It's bait and switch. It's done through grassroots organizations and not necessarily just through a mass media campaign. When 6 corporations control 90% of the media outlets in North America, what you're really getting is what the corporations want you to hear. A good working definition of propaganda was brought by Hitler's propaganda minister, Goebbels. He says, "We do not talk to say something, we talk to obtain a certain effect." And in essence, what he was saying is that whatever communications they do have is to bring about some type of an action. So it's all about winning hearts and minds for whatever purpose they have for it. If you still believe what the mainstream media is telling you, you're the target. This is a game that gets played out there. They put out their stories or articles that require actions by the government that then benefit the corporations. It's not a horribly sophisticated scam, but it's something that's played out daily in the media. And All you have to do, once you understand this, all you have to do is watch how it's played out. My name is Alan Finney, and thanks for watching.